Alright, back again, and I've got most of the, as you see, I've got most of the fat off. I've got the fat in the bowl there. I'm getting most of the fat off, and then I start, what I've got is another bowl over the side here, the black one here I've got for the cat food, or dog food if you've got a dog, we've got a cat, so good leftovers for that. And then I've got plates over here, so once I start slicing and dicing, I've got some place to put the meat. Okay, now this meat has a few sections to it, and what we want to do is start separating those because they're hard to slice through. It doesn't give you what you want. There's still quite a bit of fats and sinews that we don't want in there that we make into something else. So, you know, the smaller pieces we turn into a goulash, so we can use as a different meal. We get quite a few meals out of a good piece of meat. There's one piece. I'm still going to clean it up a bit. There's still blood vessels and stuff that I don't want. So as we go through, we find things we don't want, we get rid of those. Got some of the separating tissues through here that I don't want. It's all this bloody stuff. Yeah. For those that are not into meat, you might not want to watch this part of it. You know, as we cut it all up. It's up to you. But once you're at home, well, it's cat food, that one. So you get pieces like that. Cat food. The cat lives as good as we do. He's a fussy cat too because of it. He gets cuts you wouldn't normally get. Yeah. So let's just try and get as much of the fats off as possible. Because, you know, by the time I get around to cutting this and then beating it with the hammer to thin it out, because schnitzel is supposed to be paper thin, not like the stuff you get down the pub that's as thick as a horse's hoof. I know some guys, you know, guys who have not been educated in this stuff like meat thick, you know. But this isn't about just having meat, this is about having a schnitzel. And a schnitzel is, how do you say, a meal all its own, and it has its special qualities. For those that are into schnitzel, if you've ever had a real good schnitzel, it's not a steak. It's not a steak, okay? If you're expecting a steak, don't bother. It is not a steak. And schnitzel is a beautiful meal. It is a precise piece of meat that has been carved and hammered and been delicately looked after to become what we wish it to become. It's like a piece of art. For those people who are into making schnitzel, the ones who do it right, it's a piece of art. You're actually making an artwork. It's virtually what it is. Mum and Dad taught me how to do this. Not so much cut, it's something I just learned as I go. But there's no wrong or right way, or right or wrong way to do this. It's just what your particular fancy is to get that piece of meat you're looking for to make your schnitzel or roast. Now, by the time I clean that up, it'll make a nice roast. This one will make good goulash. By the time we get the rest of the stuff in don't want, I get a good goulash out of that. And there's still a few bits and pieces on this that I don't want. And then we'll start slicing in a minute. Yes. Some people are into the so-called marbling effect, where you have all the fat lines through the meat. Yeah, if you like that. I wasn't brought up that way. I like my meat trimmed. Fats are good for you. If anybody says they're not eating fat, and they're usually quite sick. As I said before on the earlier video, we're effectively carnivores. We are human. We were brought up in the early days chasing, hunting and eating raw meat. So don't feel bad about it. That's who we are. And be part of it. Your body is made that way. The human body is made to eat meats. Yes, probably more raw than anything else, but nothing wrong with raw meat either. To make it right, get it right. Fresh raw meat is quite tasty. We'll be showing you a German delicacy or European delicacy of raw meats. One day I'll make it up, and once it's made up and you try that, it is gorgeous. And you can use it just like a patty. It's just almost the same as well, it is the same way you make patties for hamburgers, except you don't cook them. Just put it straight on a sandwich. A bit of rye bread. Let's see what we got here, eh? That's a nice big piece of meat. Probably a bit big for making schnitzel. Schnitzel, to get a nice cut, you want to go on an end grain. You don't want to go, see the grain on this one, I don't know if you can see too well, but the grain is actually running across that way. All the tendons running through that way. You see? Huh? And we don't want to run with the grain, alright? Because it's hard to flatten. It also is, it doesn't separate nicely. You know, the idea of a schnitzel is something you can actually cut with your fork, and it just falls apart in your mouth. That's when you know you've got a nice schnitzel. And that means it's paper thin, and it just tastes fantastic. Let's do a slice here. So I've got the hands over the top. Yeah, it's fair. Not quite what I want. So I'll actually slice down this way. Look at that. All meat. Okay. No fat seams, no marbling. Beautiful. That is what we want. And that is how we wanted to have it for making schnitzel. Get rid of this fat. See if we can get a few out of this. It's hard to hold because of how small pieces. But if we can get a few out of there. Alright, look at that, nice and thin. It'll take practice. It's not something that just comes straight away. This piece of meat is actually probably end up going to be, we'll end up carving it up as goulash, I think. It's a little too hard to play with. This one's good. This one's actually a bit big. So let's see how we go here. Okay, alright, I'll start slicing. I'll get back to you shortly, okay? See you soon. Bye. Low battery warning. Gonna have to charge the battery. See you shortly.